Hi everyone, we're here talking to Rachel today, who was injured at work when lifting heavy items. She tore her left rotator cuff, which is her left shoulder. Because of this injury, she wasn't able to return to her original workplace as she could no longer lift heavy items. She had an ultrasound, steroid injections, and then had surgery to repair her torn rotator cuff. She couldn't lift anything or drive and had intensive physiotherapy for 6 weeks after her surgery. She was able to return to the workforce with a host employer, and Rachel showed incredible commitment and enthusiasm to recover and return to work. Rachel and her case manager Kelly are here to share Rachel's story.
I was working at a bottle shop and I was doing high intensity lifting, cartons of beer.
How did you feel at the time of your injury?
I couldn't use my shoulder at that point in time. As soon as I injured myself, I knew I'd injured myself. And I told my employer and went straight to the doctor and got it assessed. After I had the ultrasound, diagnosis was torn tendon in the rotor cuff and torn rotor cuff. The only way of repairing that was surgery.
So, Rachel, how did you feel after your surgery?
Very frustrated, sore. I didn't know what was going to be happening after the surgery. I was scared because it was a big surgery and there's no guarantee of full recovery.
Maybe talk us through how that felt. That must have been really tough on you.
When I first got home, I couldn't sleep. If you've gone from strong painkillers at hospital to lower the dosage to what you're allowed at home, and it was miserable. It was terrible for the first month or so. I needed a lot of help with showering and cutting up food, assisting with eating and everything. I couldn't do anything.
It sounds like you had some good support at home. Mentally, it must have been quite tough to kind of get up every day and be in that pain. How did you get through that?
I got a little bit down with it, and it's easy to do because the pain is really bad and it's constant and there's no escaping it, which is normal for anybody in that time. Then I tried getting busy, keeping busy, colouring in, doing things. That's something I haven't done in a long time. I got, all these things that I could do before the surgery. I got for afterwards that I could do to keep myself busy, jigsaw puzzles and all that sort of stuff. And I just kept trying at them to keep myself going.
That's good. So you were trying to just find ways to almost make a positive out of the fact that you couldn't be working, but you were able to keep yourself mentally stimulated. And how important was that in helping you through that really painful time?
I find mental is just as important with the physical. If you're not up, you're not happy, it really can make the process really long and it just makes it worse. So I really needed that stimulation.
So Rachel, at home, what were some of the challenges that you had with the changes to your home routine that this injury sort of caused?
I couldn't do the housework. Literally, I had to rest it. So the vacuuming, any heavy workload was out. So making the bed, you can't do that one-handed, and I wasn't allowed, to try and risk hurting the other hand, the shoulder, and showering. I couldn't shower properly. I had to be washed. I prefer to do all the housework myself. I don't like anybody else to hang out the washing and bring it in. I prefer to do it myself, my own way. And it was frustrating. The house started falling apart, sort of, hubby tried, but it's not how, it's part of me. It's my independence, and it got taken away. And it can really affect the way you feel. And there were times where it got to me. Some days it really did get to me. I had friends that would drop in. That was the only thing that sort of kept me going, was drop in and, have a cuppa with me and, make sure I'm okay and carrying on and not getting down and out, and occasionally they'd take me out to, do stuff. And I still felt that I was imposing. It's my independence. I'm a very independent person. to me. I need to have my independence. I need to work. And that was all taken away when I injured my shoulder. You've got a choice. Yes, it happens. Bad things can happen, but it doesn't mean it has to stay that way. There can be a positive out of it. And you have to keep fighting for that as well. It's not just going to come to you. It's going to come your way. You have to work for it. That's the main point about getting to where I am now. If I did nothing, and felt sorry for myself and just waited for things to happen for me, nothing would happen.
You made some really positive changes. I feel like you had this inner strength that you really drew upon to make this situation work better for you. I think what you've just shared is incredible around, how you got motivated and how you made that positive change. If you knew someone who was in your situation, what sort of advice could you give them around how to turn something that is a big change in your life and has a big impact, how they can change that to be something positive in a way that you have?
I would probably ask them, is there anything that they've always wanted to do? Is there a hobby that they've wanted to go and, do that they haven't had the time? Now you've got time. Why not do it? Or is there, like myself, I did a course in the end, but it's more of a matter of, okay, you're sitting here doing nothing. You've got some time. There is something you can do. You still have one arm. You can type. You can, there's things you can do. You can get driven to places or whatever. Go out there. Do something new for yourself. Instead of just stuck in the rut of recovery, a lot of people actually don't get out of it. They stay in a non-recovery state because they get stuck in a rut. And I've seen a couple of people do that, and that's where they stay. And there's always a choice. And I've actually convinced a couple of people to do that when they've had like knee surgery and hip surgery, to just find something that they've always wanted to do that they haven't had the opportunity to do and do it.
Wow, that's excellent. And you mentioned about something that you've always wanted to do that you've never had time to do. So talk us through sort of your studies and what you decided to do from a career perspective after you weren't able to go back to your previous job.
Well, it started when I was offered a host employer, and I was asked, what do I want to do? What have I always wanted to do? And I thought, well, nursing, caring for people. That's something ever since I was a child, a dream. And I never thought that would happen for numerous reasons, apart from even this one. I just didn't think it would happen. And when I went to Bupa, the host employer, and watched what everyone was doing, there was nurses, there was carers, there was all sorts of different, and my mind was ticking over, and I was watching and I was asking questions, like, how long did it take for you to do this course, or how this, how that. It's a year course, but I smashed it out in the 6-month period. And that's when I didn't think I could do it. There was times where I felt that I could just go, what am I doing? And I thought, no, I've got to do it. I've got people, backing on me, and that sort of kept me going as well, a little bit as well. Like, Kelly took a chance, and I was really interested in it, and I knew I could do it. And then the times where I felt I couldn't, I'm like, oh, stuff this, I don't want to do it. I don't think I could do it. And I'm like, no, you got to do it. And yeah, I did it.
So you've been well supported and you've had some excellent training. Tell us about how your first days back at work were with your employer and how it felt to get in there and be doing something useful. You said it's so important to you to be working and be independent. So just talk us through how you felt when you got back to work.
Where I'm working is in an industry I never ever thought that I would end up in. I got a call through Young Care, Coomera, where I'm working now, and they offered the job. They said, you've got the job. Yes, fine, great, because it seemed like a really different, it's a good place. It is, it's a brilliant place. I've never ever had been at a place that's so positive. This turned out to be a dream job in the fact that not just going back to work, doing something that I never thought that I'd be able to do. Like, I'm actually nursing, it's high care nursing, it's high care disability. A lot of the patients are car accident victims and motorcycle accident victims, and they're all young. A lot can't eat. They're tube fed, and it's hard. Not everyone can do it. It's a really, really hard job. Like, nurses at A&E would prefer to do that job than what we do. The pay's great. They look after us. If there's any slight injuries or anything, they're really, really, really good looking after us. They're very good people to work for. I love going to work every day. I enjoy it. It's great. I only work in the afternoons. Suits my studies because I'm still studying. I've upgraded my skill of studying. I'm now doing Diploma of Nursing. They give you everything that you need and you want, sort of thing, and they work around it. As long as you're a good employee, it's great. It's really great.
So, Rachel, you've ended up with a really, really good result. You've had a really good change, both professionally and personally, by the sounds of it, because your job just sounds so rewarding, and it's fantastic to see you sort of, you come alive when you're talking about your new role, which is so exciting. I'd like to understand how your relationship with Kelly has helped you, as well as you've gone on this very different career path and change. Can you talk about that?
Kelly, I found, has always been fair. She can be hard, but she's fair. And to get her respect is like, well, as far as I'm concerned, really, that's how I feel. Since I've known of Kelly or know Kelly, I was flabbergasted when she picked me for this. Really, I just was like, wow. I'm touched. I don't know what to say. And yeah, I really have a lot of respect for Kelly. Kelly probably went outside the square herself with some of the things she did. She took chances and they paid off. Luckily, they paid off, like she took a chance in me, and I really, really appreciate it, because I think that I don't think if she hadn't have taken a chance in me, I wouldn't sort of be right here where I am now. I think I'd still be a little bit back there. Even though I try to be getting ahead, I just didn't have the facility to do so. And it was given to me the opportunity to be able to get to where I am because of Kelly.
And Kelly, it's amazing to hear what Rachel thinks of you. I'm also really interested to hear what you saw in Rachel that made you think outside the box and help her achieve what she wanted to achieve.
Yeah, I think what really stood out for me when I was looking after Rachel was her self-motivation and her drive to make the best out of a really difficult situation. And therefore I did look outside the box because I knew how driven she was. She really showed incredible commitment to all her rehab, all her treatment, turned up to all appointments. There was never a question in my head that she was always striving for a good outcome. I had certain things I had to work within, which is always challenging for me when I know that this person is doing their best, and she was always doing her best. But because she demonstrated that to me, certainly we look at what's fair and reasonable for somebody who's doing all of those things. She then also committed to further study. She was doing all this while she's in pain, which was just incredible, furthering her studies and her employment options. And I found that really amazing. And really, at the end of the day, I think I'd have to say Rachel drove her recovery. I was there to support certain things, that was the financial side of it. That's always difficult whilst you're going through all this process. Certainly for me, having somebody with that drive, we can always do other things for those people and support them. Yeah, I was really impressed with how Rachel managed also to cope with all the pain, just such a positive person. I learnt a lot from her, really, and I'm sure other people can, that following on from such a difficult situation where you can't return to your pre-injury employer. You've got a whole lot of things against you. You can't be that independent person that you used to be and be there for your family when that's your role, that you kept going amazingly so, and certainly showed me that you can recover, you can look at other options, and you can do amazing things when you put your mind to it. And that's why I chose Rachel to share her story, because I remember it. You know, she made a difference in how I think, and that I do look outside the box now for those type of people who make such an effort themselves. You know, there's no reason why we wouldn't support that. At the end of the day, the reason she has done so well is because of who she is and her positive outlook on life through such a difficult time.
Well, thank you, Rachel, and thank you, Kelly, for sharing your story today. Hopefully some people can learn a bit of insight about Rachel and what motivated her, and maybe take something away that you could do yourself to help you in your recovery journey and return to work, and maybe think about things a little bit differently and help stay motivated and be supported by others and ultimately get the outcome that you want. So thanks, everyone.